What dirty little secret does your profession hide that the consumer should know? Every driver of a truck has nodded off at one time or another, making them an £80,000 death missile. I get paid to tell you what your employees have been telling you. In mental health, often the appearance of progress is more important than progress itself. Engineering is nowhere close to being as accurate or precise as people think. In the legal profession, the most difficult arsehole in the entire case is often your own client. I own a bar, we get rich while a lot of people drown their sorrows in alcohol. Serious, that really depresses me somehow. 9 out of 10 AC units are the same. Despite the brand and by extension the cost, they mostly come from one maker in New Jersey. Ingersoll Rand. Wash your fruit, we find spiders hanging out in grapes and berries all the time. Your friendly neighborhood grocery store employee. Our code is utter shit and no one understands what is going on, but hey, it works. Whenever you see an advertisement with a quote from someone, we just had someone in the office say that, so technically we aren't making it up. Even though we tell them exactly what to say. Biomedical researcher, 80% of published peer-reviewed studies are not repeatable. In a call center, we're more likely to waive admin fees if you're nice to us and we like you. Also, we're more likely to charge you more if you're rude or patronizing. In mascara ads, the models are wearing lash extensions. No mascara is going to make your lashes that long, sorry. Don't have grown-up conversations in front of your children. They come to school and tell us everything. Everything. I know more about the parents of my kids than I do my own friends. We aren't allowed to mingle with the guests. But sometimes we do. Most places never clean their soda fountain ice machines. After opening a few and finding them full of mold and growth, I stopped putting ice on my fountain drinks. So much pre-recorded music and lip-syncing. Live music isn't what it used to be. Baggage handler. If you check a skateboard by just slapping a sticker on it, will get ridden. Tech support. I Google most of your problems. Good tech support is very well worded Google searches. Therapist in a skilled nursing facility here. Some places will hang on to residents well past when they're ready to go home to suck up all the Medicare money they can. Others send them home too early in hopes of getting a good rating from the insurance payers and therefore more referrals. I'm lucky enough to work in a place that doesn't seem to do this. Air traffic controllers, at least in the US, are almost all clinically fatigued. The FAA knows this and the union knows this, but it's in their interests to keep it quiet. Paramedic here, ambulances are not sterile places. In 90% of mobile games or Facebook games where you see all the people you're playing with, they are just bots with names scraped from online. Non-profits rarely do what you think they do. That statement comes from over 5 years' experience in the field with multiple organizations. You can bargain with the funeral home. Shop around, you can save thousands. In the investment banking industry, if you're my client and you're paying multi-million-dollar fees to complete your M&A transaction, know that the senior guy that sold you the deal is a salesperson and not doing the work. The freshly hired analyst 3 months out of college will actually do all the work, and his work will be checked by an associate with 2 years' experience. Your multi-billion transaction will be prudently handled by the overworked 21-year-old who maybe has $1,000 in savings. Sometimes your professor learns about the thing that they teach you so confidently just hours before giving the lecture. You can sue a prison for holding you after your release day if they screw up your release, or can't release you on time for whatever reason, and it's like $7,000 for every day you're held over. If produce falls on the floor, no matter how dirty the floor is, at my store we just put it right back on the produce tables. Always wash your fruit, vegetables. I work in the prison system, and prison officers routinely beat up inmates as a means of quieting them up or getting them to behave. The warden knows about this as well too, but turns a blind eye. Only if you do something serious, like kill someone, will you get fired. If prison guards beat you up and there are no cameras to capture the incident, you will have no recourse to justice. I worked for Whole Foods. That stuff in the prepared foods section you pay top dollar for isn't even organic. It's not even from the store. We'd go buy ingredients from Costco. Whole Foods tries to justify you paying so much money for your meals because it's all organic and fresh ingredients, but it's a lie. Also, the hot bar is just reheated leftovers from the day before. My family owns a liquor store. When the economy goes down, our business goes up. Once you realize that a real estate agent is actually just a used house salesman, you start to understand what real estate is really about. Medical lab scientist. The pregnancy test that we run for your doctor that costs ridiculous amounts of money are the same tests you can buy at the grocery store. Long-haul trucker. If you see us parked at a rest area, we are either jacking it or sleeping. Either way, if you need us, catch us outside the truck. Produce department. We soak many of the wet rack items ahead of time before they ever go to the wall in the first place, and of course, then they are misted throughout the day. This keeps them firm and fresh looking, of course. What it also does, it makes you pay per pound for water. Amazon seller. They still have incentivized reviews. Nobody cleans the shared earpieces used for TV news interviews. All cheese, chicken, or beef pizzas for Muslim customers get cut by the same greasy cutter that went through 3 pepperoni pizzas before them at Domino's. School maintenance worker. I want to throat punch some people for being shitty parents. Also, little Jimmy didn't fall on a railing and got hurt, he fell on an extension cord that had the hot wire exposed that the school wouldn't let me replace. We sometimes collude to downplay both postoperative reports and discussions with the patients and their family afterward when a chief big shot makes a mistake on the table. Even the patient death record is sanitized if an important enough individual is the cause of error. Petitions. Elected officials don't care that you collected 5,000 signatures demanding something, regardless of the topic, they all just go to the recycling bin. 50 to 75% of television news anchors wear bunny slippers on air. Geology. Mass extinction events in the next 100 years, while maybe not likely, are shockingly feasible. Those IV bags of saline that the hospital charges you $500 for are sold to distributors for less than the cost of a bottle of water. If you come into my hospital and say you are suicidal, you are going to be locked up for at least 72 hours. Even if you were joking. Shouldn't really be a secret. When you're injured in a car wreck due to someone else's fault, their insurance company only wants to freak you. Not too secret, but I can confirm it. Work in the hotel industry. A good % of the pillows isn't washed. Like ever. That nuclear control system still run on Windows Server 2003. Chipotle worker here. We don't chop our lettuce anymore. It comes pre-chopped in bags. Bags. Your phone is designed to become obsolete in a year or two. If the hardware doesn't fail, the software will render it worthless anyway. They want you to keep buying new ones. There is no cloud, it's just someone else's computer. Ex-personal trainer. Your problem is your diet. That's it. You're eating too much. I can work you 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, but if you keep eating that crap, what do I feel like eating? Diet. You're going to be as fat as the first day you walked into my office. You don't need a personal trainer, you need a psychologist or hypnotherapist and a dietitian. Paint factories use mad carcinogenic shit. Shit, that's banned everywhere but here for a good reason. There's a good chance the code behind the program critical for your work is janky and spaghetti as freak, and the author has no idea how it works. Geek Squad uses Malwarebytes to clean your PC of viruses and charges you $150 so they can use a free software on your PC. I've always suspected that society was held together by greed and duct tape. Fantastic thread, guys, wish I could upvote you all. Mathematician here. We don't know what's going on either. Valet driver here. Don't leave your drugs in the car. A kid took £1 out of a customer's car a few years back and the dude came back flipping out screaming at the manager. When the manager finally asked what was stolen and he told him weed, my manager just said, "Oh. Well, you can file a police report then." I am a welder for a company that builds roller coasters. Every single weld is inspected and x-rayed for any defect. So, I guess this doesn't apply, but just so everyone can feel a little bit safer I figured I'd let your internet people know. GM of a rental car company here. Do not, under any circumstances, buy additional roadside assistance or premium roadside assistance. Essentially every new car comes with 5 years of free roadside assistance from the manufacturer. As long as you weren't off-roading, just give the manufacturer's RSA hotline the VIN and mileage and you are good to go. If I start CPR on you, you have about a 5% chance to survive. I still try my hardest. Thank you, kind stranger, for the gold. A certain telephone company with a blue globe logo doesn't actually have a billing department. You are always routed to sales. The job is not to fix your billing problem, it's to upsell you. If you have a legit billing problem, you will be transferred because the rep doesn't want to deal with anyone that isn't a sale. Every time you're transferred, it's actually to the same department, just a different sales rep. Billing manager are really just sales managers. It's not uncommon for assistants and apprentices to make the art of really famous, well-known, expensive artists. The artist might be very involved in the process or barely involved. They can have studios with dozens of assistants churning out all of their work, and then just sign their name to it. And I'm not just talking about sculptures or art installations where assistants might be doing the grunt work. Even paintings could be barely touched by the actual artist. Teacher, here, I hide your secrets. If your kids know it, I know it. Children are tactless and impulsive, and they tell me all about your reproductive habits, financial difficulties, domestic problems, and Tinder dates. I know so much about moms and dads that I wish I could erase from my brain forever. But I will never tell. You're welcome. I used to work for a major package delivery service unloading semi-trailers. The flat-screen TV you ordered for Christmas was under a gun safe and a lift kit for a truck. FedEx office doesn't recycle. I've personally killed probably close to an acre of forest. Waited for a long time to post this so it'd get buried. Sewer inspector. I can tell exactly what house is dumping oil and grease down their drains. It's usually the churches and businesses that get nastygrams and fines, but we need to shame the house people too. Doctor, here. I'll see a patient Monday morning in the hospital, work all night, and then Tuesday morning in the hospital, and I won't have slept in the 24 hours in between. And this is totally normal and accepted practice in medicine. If you're sitting at a blackjack table and aren't sure what play to make, ask the dealer. No, seriously. We're trained to know the official blackjack strategy guide and are allowed to give you that information, considered common knowledge. If the dealer doesn't know it offhand, the supervisor should have a copy of it and will help you out. Tech startups. Many places spend almost no time or effort on security. It's a race to add features and patch over major bugs to try to get some kind of revenue stream before funding runs out. Security isn't a problem until it is, so it's always on the back burner. Anyone who's ever been at a vehicle assembly plant knows that most cars have a quality of about 80% of the specifications, and they're sold that way to everyone. Teacher, it's that time of year to make class placements for next year. Every year there are 2 or 3 teachers in the school, elementary, who are so awful, we cry over which students we have to sacrifice to them and hope they are strong enough to survive a year with Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so. Many of the books you read, especially romance, aren't written by the person whose name is on the cover. Most romance books are ghostwritten and bought by someone else, often a man, I've found, and published under a female's name with a fake bio. How do I know this? I'm a ghostwriter. A lot of people think military is synonymous with discipline and top-tier job training. I've seen things that would make a McDonald's worker think that the job is pretty high class. That people in the kitchen and in factories also go to work when they feel ill, and you most likely have eaten something someone sneezed on. Because there is a line between feeling so sick you can't get out of bed and coughing and sneezing once in a while. Very few institutions get computer security right. The fact that nothing catastrophic has happened yet is nearly a miracle. After working in the travel industry, I can tell you that hotel room rates are often not fixed prices. If guests come to the front desk and ask the price, we generally start at the high end. Most people accept this as fact and pay up. However, if a customer is hesitant or threatens to walk out, we can sometimes drop the price to keep them there. Often there is a bottom line price set by the owners. We can't go any lower than that or we lose money. Software development. You will always be pressed for more time and money. Your product will almost always launch with major bugs and issues. You will spend most of your final moments before go live fixing as many of the visible issues as you can, and subsequent updates actually getting the product to where you envisioned it as you were building. Most cheap sex toys are made out of unstable materials, TPE, TPR, that may leach chemicals into your body and may over time start to melt, especially if stored with other toys. These materials can also be porous and a perfect home for bacteria, so black spots might grow on your dildo. I'm an advertising photographer. Pretty much anything you buy based off the work of my industry won't be as nice as it looks in the ads. We put a lot of work into making something that's worth $5 look like it's worth $50. Accounting. That the appearance of everything is fine is more important than is everything actually fine. Financial statement sign-offs by accountants are becoming more like rubber stamps. Accountants are blessing financial statements that haven't been properly vetted because of cost constraints engulfing the industry. It's only a matter of time before the next Enron accounting scandal. If you enter a sweepstake or contest, some sites will use your friends list to decide how popular, cool you are, and it ups your possibility to win. I work in video games. Our job is to make our game as addictive as possible so that we can make the most money out of microtransactions. Think mobile phone games. A lot of our game design is by marketing telling us what people will most likely buy in the game by watching data. Sure, it starts free to play, but to keep you playing and paying we mine data to make it more sticky. Home construction. It is so bad. Amazing what people will pay $500,000 for. Total rubbish. You won't believe the number of foundation failures or how many roof trusses have termites pre-installed, and for God's sake, never look under the carpet.